quote which kind of mentions about how pearls could be imported from Ceylon, aloe from Burma, woolen clothes from Nepal, and furs and horses from Gandhara Nadu, which is today probably Afghanistan, and Vanayu from Arabia, Persia, and wine from Afghanistan and Scythia. I mean, this is probably a translation, but the mood of the text is something similar, which basically tells you that there's a lot of activity across board, across the region rather, not just within modern India. And the nature of trade was basically defined by two key things. One was high risk and high value goods, and they had high value goods as well. And he also believed in the need for free and fair trading system and high importance to imports and exports. If you really look at what philosophy he had on trade, it's quite interesting. One is he believed that it was a revenue accumulating mechanism, which means trade gave money to the state, and he believed that more trade that would give more revenue to the state. So that was something he was promoting. The interesting thing is he preferred imports far more than exports. That's contrary to how we evolve nowadays, where the focus is more on being competitive in exports. But he, for some unique reason, probably Kautilya believed that the resources that you get from outside, the more and more if he could accumulate and then give it for his people, then it also adds probably a kind of a value to his people. So he preferred imports and gave a lot of exemptions for high value imports like gems and gold and things like that, and also believed in the potential for exports. Greater economies of scale, that's another thing. He believed in getting large quantities of trade, not small quantities. He wanted to do it big, and he believed that had to be a focus. And high and low value goods were also included as part of this. There was a trade structure in place. For example, there was the Panyadaksha, which is basically the superintendent of trade. So this person basically controls, is like the officer in charge of trade through the Mauryan kingdom. Kautilya basically says that he is given a lot of responsibilities. One is he is fixing price of commodities after looking at investment capital and duties and things like that. And then he also intervenes when there's shortage of commodities. And in terms of, and he had an acute sense of demand and supply in the market, according to the Arthashastra. There was also a team which kind of surveyed for these inputs, which reported to the Panyadaksha. So there's a team of surveyors who could go around in the countryside to understand what is the demand and give him a sense so that he can take a call. So all of the state-controlled trade was within his domain, and determines how they are produced indigenously outside the country. So basically, it's a combination of what the RBI would do nowadays, compared, and also what, say, the Ministry of Commerce might do. So the Panyadaksha had a lot of power in this sense, because he controlled the most dominant part of the economy. So he was a superintendent of trade. And then there was a Samstadaksha, which basically looks at consumer interests. So in terms of, say, your products, whether they are good quality, quality control, whether you're cheating you in terms of goods from other countries. So he did a quality check. He also ensured that second-hand goods were not, duties were limited on them. So he was in charge of doing a quality check and all this. And the Sulkadaksha, which is a superintendent of customs. So this is the person who was at the border of the kingdom, and he would ensure that custom duties and imports and exports were all taken care, and the excise duties and indigenous products were also taken care. So these were duties and tariffs which were there existing during that time itself in an indirect, in a different terminology, but some amount was given for this.